I put it in first gear and just let it rip. And I mean, mud flinging everywhere all over this guy, all over their car. I'm sure everybody remembers their first car. Being 16, geez, it's just freedom, right? So, of course, got my freedom, and I'm out. It's a Friday night. It's getting a little later. I was probably supposed to be home. I don't know, 10:30 curfew. But, you know, it was probably 10. I'm sitting at this light. I'm in my Jeep, all right? It's my first car. Had top off, the doors off, you know, everything. Summertime, you know, you hang your foot up. You put your foot up on the door, and you're kind of just hanging out. I had a system in it. I put... I think it was a couple of 10s in the back, kickers, I remember. And, you know, it was loud. I had the bass up, just chilling. So I'm sitting at this left, or the red light, trying to make a left. And all of a sudden, a car pulls up next to me, and it's much louder. And I looked over, and it was a Foxbody. I'm like, oh, that's cool. The windows go down just a couple inches. And I noticed that there was multiple people, like in the back, in the front. Couldn't really see a lot because it was tinted and, you know, had it down just a little bit. So I was like, okay, but I'm by myself. I'm 16 years old. It's a little later at night. So light turns green, 5-speed, put in gear, make a left. So I go, I'm just chilling, listen to music, head on up towards my house. And obviously, you know, still had a little ways to go. So I made a left. This car gets over, the Mustang gets over behind me. They make a left. Okay. No big deal. But they were kind of following me, you know, kind of closely. So I go for a ways. I'm like, you know, you kind of start thinking to yourself, is this person following me? I'm like, all right, let me make a right. Make a right. They make a right. Now I'm a little bit more inclined to believe, you know, maybe they're following me. So I'm like, all right, there's this neighborhood that multiple friends of mine lived in, a big neighborhood. And there's, you know, an entrance on one road, and you make like 3 turns through it, and you come out on another road, right? Because there's 2 entrances, 2 different roads. So I did that, pull in, make a left, multiple turns, and they follow me all the way through the neighborhood in this Foxbody. All right. At this point, I pretty much resolved they were following me. I didn't know what they wanted. I didn't recognize these people. I had never seen this Mustang before. It was at night, and I was by myself. I'm like, okay, I got a couple of options here. First option is to drive straight to the police department, which I didn't really want to do, and it was kind of far away. And second option was I can call a bunch of my buddies up, maybe they'll answer, and I can get them to meet me somewhere, you know. But it's Friday night at 10 o'clock. They're already getting home, trying to get home, curfew, all that kind of stuff. So I said, third option. There's this new subdivision that was being built near my house, and I had a 4-wheeler at the time, and I would drive my 4-wheeler all over the place, you know. And this new subdivision I'd found was awesome for riding my 4-wheeler at. So I found it, and I'm going back through there on my 4-wheeler, and I'm like, oh, there's this dead end, and then it goes down and go through a creek and, you know, back out another entrance of another road, basically through the woods, and then I could go to my house. I'm like, well, I can go this way. They can't go this way. Let's see if they follow me. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go all the way through, and I get down, and they're right behind me. I mean, in this neighborhood where the street had just been paved, there's no houses built. There's literally no one back there. And this is about 20 minutes now that they had followed me from a more kind of central city type of area where maybe they, you know, had been around to, we lived in the sticks. I mean, it was the country. I mean, there was a lot of pastures and fields and subdivisions that had just started moving in, being built there. So it was a lot of farm kind of land. So I'm like, obviously these people have never been out here. I would have noticed this Mustang before. My shop teacher had a Foxbody. I knew what they were. I'd obviously wanted one. I had a friend that had a black one. This was a much brighter blue. I don't remember what blue it was, but they're following me. I'm like, this is it, you know? And so luckily I was in a Wrangler that I could shift into 4-wheel drive on the fly, but I think had to be kind of going slow, you know, maybe, you know, 10, 15, 20 miles an hour tops. So I slow down a little bit. They start flashing their lights. They know that this is the dead end road. They're revving the motor on the Mustang. And I'm like, man, I hope this works. I put it in 4-wheel high, put it back in gear. I think it probably second gear or something like that. And at the end of this road, it kind of went down a little bit into gravel. And then it was just plain old mud where they had graded it straight into this creek and back up a hill. And I'm like, I'm making it through this. I'll even run over a couple of trees in this Jeep if I have to. It doesn't matter. But they ain't making it through in this Foxbody. I mean, no way. So I figured that was my getaway, right? They're not going to follow. They don't know where I'm going after that. You couldn't see far enough and found another road. They would not follow me again, I wouldn't think. So I wasn't going very slow. I was probably going too fast. I was probably going 25 or 30 miles an hour. I remember that I kind of got a little bit of air, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. I hit the end of the road and launched it into the creek. I mean, just water splashing everywhere. And then I'm like digging on my way out of the hill, and they had followed me. They didn't know it ended. They'd never been there before, and they were still going kind of fast. They slam on their brakes, but the nose of the Foxbody came down into the creek, and they just were like, crash, basically. Not like hard, but enough. They were stuck. I mean, on this decline in the mud in a Mustang, in some gravel and like mud. I mean, they were done for. And this is now 10:30, 10:45 at night. And I'm out, like I said, out in the middle of nowhere. And before I had like one cell phone minute that I could use that was $20 a minute or something on like an old candy bar phone, that slid out. So I'm like, if they've got a phone, that's the only way they're getting anybody, or else they're going to be walking, or, I don't know how they're getting out of there. They're going to have to call a tow truck. But even before that, let me back up. I go through and go up the hill, and they got stuck, right? And I'm like, oh yes, this is freaking perfect. So I slow down, I stop. I'm kind of going up the hill halfway. I'm probably 20 yards from them at this point. I back up because I knew where I was. I knew it wasn't really deep, and I knew it was pretty muddy, but I'd gotten through it in my four-wheeler multiple times, and it was a two-wheel drive four-wheeler, but that Foxbody wasn't getting through it. So I back up, get about, I don't know, maybe 15 feet, 20 feet from the hood of the Mustang. They had opened the doors. They were getting out at this point. One of them had actually come around the front, like down towards the creek, like thinking he's going to come and jump in my vehicle or something. I don't know. I turn the music down. I say a couple of whatever to him. I put it in first gear and just let it rip. And I mean, mud flinging everywhere all over this guy, all over their car. And I'm just roasting the tires. Mud is going everywhere. I am laughing my butt off. I'm flying up this hill, just gone. These guys are like screaming because there's rocks hitting them and stuff and everything. And I'm out of there. I am just gone. I drive up, go out, boom. I come around to my house, and I like fly over through past my driveway, my house, down into the backyard, and like park. I had like a small little four-wheeler track in the backyard, some old trails, through, we had, about an acre of ground or something like that, and back in the bushes. And so I park it back in the woods where you couldn't even see it from the road. It was night, of course. I was scared out of my mind, like somehow they're going to get out and come find me or whatever. I don't even know what I thought, but I just, ruined these guys' night, of course. So I park it, I get inside, my adrenaline pumping. I'm like, I got to get inside. And I go inside, nobody was even awake. Everybody was asleep. And I go to bed, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. And next day I wake up, I get on my four-wheeler, crank it up. I go down back through the little trail, go down there, and there's nothing. It was gone. Somehow they must have called a tow truck, pulled that Mustang out. I never saw him again. I never saw the car around town. I was always waiting. And from then on, like, I knew about Foxbodies, of course. I liked Foxbodies. I didn't have one yet. But from that point on, I really started to pay attention to Foxbodies way more, because every time I'd see one, I was wondering, is that the color? Is that guy? Will he remember me in this red Jeep Wrangler? And from then on, I was hooked. It kind of made me more investigate the Foxbody and wonder more about it, and what it was about, and how these cars, were made, and what all you could do to them at the time. So that was kind of how I got my start really in the Foxbody world, was Foxbody chasing me, maybe trying to steal my Jeep. I don't know. Or maybe they just wanted my subs. Who knows? But it was a crazy night. Special thanks to our sponsors for today's Mustang story video. Go online on their websites, check them out. They both have free offers. Kenny Brown Performance offers a free 15-minute consultation one-on-one to find out about how to increase your performance on your car. And National Parts Depot, the only parts company out there that still puts out a free full-color catalog for all your Foxbody, all Mustangs up to 2004. So go check them out as well at mpdlink.com or kennybrown.com. And thanks again for sponsoring Foxbody FX Mustang Stories.